Welcome, everyone, to the D.U.B Success Series, where we cultivate your belief system for success. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, and I want to know, do you believe? Do you?
Do you believe? I want to know. Do you believe? 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 I want to know. Do ya?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Do You Believe Success Series, a podcast hosted by me, Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner. Known also by some as Wadrate the Motivator, Mr. Do You Believe himself, and I am super excited and honored that you dedicated a little bit of your time to tune in to my podcast today, so I thank you so very much. Now, this is the intro to my new podcast, so this will be the first episode, and as we continue to go along, it's going to evolve and it's going to change, it's going to get better, but I am actually taking the 100-day challenge that was put out by Dr. Eric Thomas. I know a lot of you who listen to inspiration, motivation, and empowerment know exactly who Eric Thomas is. Him, his team, CJ and Carl, and a couple of the other guys that they put together came up with this 100-day challenge. And as I sat back and I listened to the guys talk about this challenge, I thought to myself, what could I do for 100 days? And to go back to give you a little backstory about the 100-day challenge, it starts on September the 16th and it runs all the way to Christmas Day. And the object or the goal is to commit to something that you will do every single day for 100 days. So that way on Christmas morning, you can give yourself the best gift of your life. So for me, a podcast is something that I've wanted to do for an extremely long time. I've always came up with excuses. And as we know, excuses are tools of the incompetent, which build monuments to nothing, and those who specialize in them seldom accomplish anything else. So I came up with all these different excuses. I said that the name, what about the name of the podcast? How would I record it? Will the sound be quality? Just really any excuse that you could possibly come up with when it comes to starting a podcast, I had it. And I was listening to Eric and CJ and Carl and a lot of the other guys that they actually had that are part of their team talk about this challenge and this 100-day challenge. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do? What am I going to commit to for 100 days in a row without missing one single day that could be impactful, not only for me, but also for other people? And the first thing that came to my mind was, you know what? I am going to start a podcast, and I'm going to podcast for 100 days in a row. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to podcast every single day of the week from now until now on. But starting out with the first 100 days in a row. And now that I'm actually putting this out there in the universe, I'm pretty sure that I have a lot of accountability partners who are going to be checking to see if I stick with this podcast for 100 days. And that is my goal. So thank you for everybody who's listening, who's tuned in now. Blessings to you all. And I am super excited, I guess is the appropriate word, about this new journey that I am now embarking upon. It's definitely going to be stretching me outside of my comfort zone. I have to, you'll see. It's going to be a process, and I hope that you will tune in and join me and support me in this. And also, I want to challenge you, to anybody who's listening right now to this podcast, I want to challenge you to find something that you can commit to for 100 days that you feel that would be impactful for you, your clients, the people you serve, your family, or just whoever, and stick to it and email me, because I want to know how your process is going. If you need an accountability partner or someone to support you, you can always email me at motivation101@gmail. That's motivation101@gmail. You can email me if you need support, you have questions, you have any ideas, just whatever. Email me. I'll get back to you. expeditiously, and I'll do whatever I can to support you on your mission as you continue to support me on mine. So let's make it happen. 100 days of commitment to whatever it is that you think that would make you better as a person. So on Christmas Day, you can gift yourself with one of the greatest gifts of all time, whatever that may be for you individually. Me, I'm committing to a couple things, and I'm going to share them with you. One is obviously the podcast that we're on now, that we're talking about right now. So the podcast is going to be one. Two, I have these mantras and this whole, I call it mindset motivation or mindset magic 101 is a couple names that I call this little, these affirmations, and it's really just self-empowerment. I developed a coaching program, and through the coaching program, these were some of the things that I've identified that helps build me up and keeps me focused and keeps me confident in myself and keeps me moving forward towards my goal. And it's only about a page long, and my commitment is to return to reading that every single day for the next 100 days. When I first moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Phoenix, Arizona, I went over a full year where I did not get angry one single day. And trust me, things were happening. I mean, I had crazy things happen. I remember I went to San Diego for the first time, went to Tijuana, and got robbed in Tijuana, got held up in customs for hours. And the only thing I could do was to laugh about the situation and think about how great of a story that was going to be when or if I finally made it back home. But that's just an example of some of the things that were actually going on in my life. But I committed myself to not even being mad, not entertaining anger, not entertaining stress. And I lived in bliss for over a full year, to the day I remember when I first got mad. I laughed at myself so hard that I was dizzy because I allowed an outside force to come inside of my spirit and disrupt the flow of the peace and the zen that I was cultivating. So I want to return back to that. And I noticed that when I was going through that period of peace and tranquility, where, is that the right word? Yeah, y'all know what I'm trying to say. But when I was going through those moments of peace, I remember there were certain things that I did every day. I would say my mantras, I would meditate, I would recite If by Rudyard Kipling. And these were just things that I did every single day consistently that helped me cultivate my mindset, so I was not boggled down by anger. I wasn't allowing stress to inundate my mind and my spirit. And I went over a full year. So now I want to return back to a little bit more of that. Now that I have the wife and the kids and the work responsibilities of being a business owner and trying to do all these things, there's a lot of stress that is inundated into my spirit, and I don't like it. And I want to return back to that peacefulness and that stillness that I once had when I first moved out to beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. So I want to start to recultivate my mindset by going through my mindset motivation, reading it every single day. And also, I want to improve upon my health as a person. So I want to integrate eating salad at least once a day for the next 100 days. Just simple, just integrating more greens, just salad, just lettuce, spinach, tomato, just integrating that into my diet from a health standpoint, because truthfully, guys, I could lose a couple pounds. So I want to really focus on that, and not just for me specifically, but also for my wife and for my kids, because I want to see my kids grow up. I want to be there when they graduate from college. And I went to the doctor a couple years ago, and the doctor said something to me that truthfully scared the hell out of me. She called me on the phone and said that, hey, I got your test results back. You need to come to the office so we can discuss these results. So I'm like, tell me over the phone. So the lady that was on the phone said, well, I can't give you the information. I have the doctor to call you and give you the information. So the doctor called me, and the doctor said, hey, Mr. Nelson, how are you doing today? And I said, I am doing great, ma'am. How about yourself? She says, I am doing wonderful, but your test results are not. And she gave me these results on my test, and truthfully, I just wasn't healthy. There were some things in my life that I needed to change. And she said one thing that really stuck out to me that resonated with my spirit. And she asked me about my kids. And I told her that at the time I had a 1-year-old son. My daughter was 3. Now they're 2 and 4. But she told me that if I didn't make immediate changes in my lifestyle and in my diet, that I wouldn't live to see my kids graduate from high school. To me, I don't know if she was being extreme or what, but it was enough to really scare me to help change certain aspects of my lifestyle to become a lot healthier. So that way, if nothing else, I could be there for my wife and for my kids. Now, to be honest, over the course of the time, I have not been consistent with that. I've had my ups and my downs, and I've, done things to my body that I probably should not have done, excessive eating and all of this stuff, and just not been real conscious of everything that goes into my body. So for these next 100 days, I know that, I can't just stop on a dime and go vegan, but I can at least focus on cultivating a healthier lifestyle with healthier eating habits. So that's something else that I'm going to integrate in. So we're going to be podcasting every single day. I am going to focus on my mindset motivation. I'm going to integrate more raw food into my diet. Something that my wife has been saying to me lately is that she wants more intimacy in our relationship. We have the kids now. We have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. They take up so much time and so much energy that a lot of our intimacy and the time that we used to have before the kids has now been drained away, because we still have to work. We still have to maintain our life, our social life. We still have to be there for each other, and just take care of the kids. Over the course of time, this becomes strenuous and a stress on anybody, to the point that before you know it, the intimacy in your relationship starts to take a back seat or the back burner to everything else that's happening in life. So my wife has told me that she loves the intimacy and she wants more intimacy. So I am committing to 100 days of intimacy. I don't know exactly what it will look like. I know I said that I don't say I love you as much as I should. We say it, but probably not as consistent or as often as we need to. So I'm going to start out by making sure that I tell my wife and my kids individually that I love you a minimum of 3 times per day, every single day. And also I'm going to be working on what can I do to develop that more intimacy on a consistent basis. And I'll be sharing some of the things that I'm coming up with and some of the things that I'm doing on my 100-day journey. And hopefully whoever's listening, some of you will commit to a 100-day journey of your own. All right, so now we have the podcast. We have the mindset motivation. We have the integration of healthier eating, including more salads and raw food into the diet. And also establishing the intimacy with my wife. Also, the last thing, this is something that's important to me, is my kids actually love when I read to them. They get excited. This is something that just brings them great joy. The joy that they have brings me great joy. I don't do this as consistently as I possibly could. So I am also going to integrate into my plan the just more quality time with my kids. Just quality time, not so parental, but just reading and coloring and listening to them and really being their support, their strong support system, a stronger support system for them, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. I want to build my kids up to be the best that they can be, and that's not going to happen by accident. So I want to focus on being a better father, and whatever that looks like. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, because we're talking about 100 days and doing this consistently for 100 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be tracking this. Every day I'm going to write it down. What did I do today? Did I record the podcast? What did I do with my wife? What did I eat? How was I with my kids? Did I read my mindset motivation? So that way I can have an accountability sheet for myself to make sure that I am sticking to what I committed to. So this is the introduction podcast, the 100-day challenge. As we go, we have a ton of different things that we will be discussing, including some of you that may not know who I am and what I'm about. We'll get into that, a little bit more about me, who I am, and why you may want to tune in and listen to this podcast. But one of the main purposes of this podcast, and I know I'm saying this kind of late, probably should have said this earlier, but I want to be a resource for those people who need that extra inspiration, that extra encouragement, that extra motivation. So each day, my goal is to give you a quote of the day, a tip of the day, present you with a question or a challenge of the day, and something that will help you become more just a better person overall and enhance the quality of your life. All right. So now I wish you guys could see this beautiful scene that I'm seeing right now. I'm actually in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I'm sitting out at the base of a mountain. I don't know if it's really a mountain. Maybe it's a big hill. If you go to my Facebook, Instagram, or one of those pages, I'll post some of the images up so that way you'll be able to see the beauty of what I'm seeing and experiencing right now. But I am actually in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, and I am very honored and grateful and appreciative for everyone that is still listening to this podcast right now. I thank you so much. I understand that there's so many things that you could be doing, but the fact that you are right here, right now, listening to this podcast, I just want to extend my gratitude and thanks to you. And I can assure you that as you tune in, that I'm going to give you every single thing that I have, because I don't want this podcast just to be something that's going to be entertaining. I want it to be something that's going to be transformational. I want people to listen to this and gain something that's going to empower you, to make you feel better, to make you do better, and it just hopefully help you be a better person and become the person that God intended for you to be. And just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I was born and raised in Dublin, Georgia, D.U.B, where all my Dublin, Georgia people at, woo woo. Hence the name of the Do You Believe podcast. It was inspired by my hometown. And one thing that I love about growing up in Dublin is I grew up on a dirt road, and I'll talk about this a little bit more as we go on. We have 100 days, so we have plenty to talk about throughout the course of these 100 days. But the fact that I grew up on a dirt road in Dublin, Georgia, and we grew all our own food in the yard, and we'll get deeper into all that stuff. But just the fact that I grew up on a dirt road, and my great-grandfather, Adam Nelson, represented the first generation of free people in my family. And to think about me, where I am now, and the potential that I have to do some of the great things that I aspire to do, it just lets you know that anything is possible. Only for those who truly believe. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's about helping you cultivate the mindset and the belief system that you need to be the greatness that God created you to be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since this is just the introduction to the podcast, I'm going to be going 100 days strong. Please, if you would, go in, subscribe to this podcast. I can assure you that I'm going to be dedicating as much time and as energy as I possibly can into this every single day, in hopes that we can work together to cultivate ourselves to being the people that God created us to be. All right, that's it, guys. I'm out here in the sun. It's sweating. I'm a little hot. Need to get back to the room, shower up, so me and the family can enjoy the beauty of this beautiful place, Sedona, Arizona. And thank you again so much for tuning in, listening to the introduction to the Do You Believe Success Series and the 100-Day Challenge. We will be going strong for 100 days in a row. Yes, 100 days in a row. So tune in, subscribe, like it, leave your comments. If you want to 1-star it, that's cool. But if you want to give me 5 stars, I would greatly appreciate that even more. So thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, here on the Do You Believe Success Series. And I will see you guys on tomorrow. All right, guys. You guys be blessed. Love you. Thank you so very much for your time. And once again, Y. Nelson Thomas signing off from the Do You Believe Success Series. Blessings to you all, and I'm out.
Do you believe? I wanna know. Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe?